Black Sabbath with The End. This is an EP that's going to be available only at shows during the final tour for Black Sabbath. So if you don't have any plans to hit up one of these shows, this is something where I don't traditionally do this, but go to town if you happen to find it online. It's the only way that you're going to see this otherwise, unless they do have it available in their stores. I don't know, actually, because somebody actually gave this to me, which is really cool. 4 tracks that are, the first 4 tracks on this disc are leftovers from the 13 sessions. These were songs that did not make the cut, and then the final 4 tracks on this EP are all live versions of tracks. Let's get the live ones out of the way first. The God is Dead from Sydney, Australia is kind of a rough and rugged mix, but overall, not too bad. The last 3, however, Under the Sun, End of the Beginning, and Age of Reason, all 3 are extremely solid. Ozzy sounds very on point, and this might just be a little dig on my behalf based off of experiences I've had seeing this band live, but I'm wondering if these are cuts that happen earlier in the set, because it seems like early in the set Ozzy's voice is fantastic, everything's kicking on all cylinders, but as you get deeper into the set it starts to decay a good bit, and I'm wondering if it's that, or if it's, maybe he's kind of slowed himself down a little bit to pace himself a little bit better. I know that he's made some changes to his life that he's very positive about. So let's talk about the 4 songs that are new to the ears of the Black Sabbath faithful, and by all intents and purposes, the final 4 songs that we will ever get from this band. So, Season of the Dead starts this one off. It's a 7.5-minute long track, and if there's one thing that I'll say about some of the introductions to these 4 songs, especially the first 3, it's one that has a very similar makeup to their setup in their writing process, and perhaps it's the reason why these tracks were left off of the disc, because they do have a bit of a similar beginning to them, either that or just a similar starting point. So it's almost as though it's just an easy way to get themselves going in a jam session, and it ended up making the cut, and there you go. But Season of the Dead, I really enjoy the fact that this one undulates a good bit, and this one I think would have been just fine on the album. I think that it had a lot of the same mechanics that you heard on 13. I think that it was also a disc that showcased both sides of Sabbath's doom variety. The one that has more of its roots in rock and roll and in blues, and then the side that they essentially helped coin with the heavy metal depth and the heavy metal evil sound, you know, the dark sound to it. So this is really cool. Cry All Night, which is the second track, nearly clocks in at 7 minutes by itself and has literally the same sort of makeup and the same sort of idea sort of spawned behind it, only with different thematic elements, and it is also done with fairly decent execution. But Take Me Home and Isolated Man, these 2 are smaller, you know, shorter tracks, but they're able to deliver the packaged goods very well, and these are 2 that I could see as efforts throughout Sabbath's first run. In fact, these are tracks that feel a little bit more like turning back the clock, as opposed to really being right there lumped in with the 13 sessions. And I really like the fact that Take Me Home has some soft acoustic parts that are flowing within it, and Isolated Man with its tight lyricism, especially with its chorus, really that is the true highlight of that track, is just its lyricism. And on all of these songs, Iommi writes some solid work, but it is starting to show some date. It is starting to show some of that idea that, man, the man of a million riffs has maybe finally reached that 1 million mark, because it's crazy how at times you can hear a certain overlap, but it still has that fresh sensation to it, which is really cool. What is not cool to a lot of people is the fact that Bill Ward was obviously not on these tracks, but you win some and you lose some and you award some, I suppose. Overall, as far as a value for this EP, I'm not going to give it a score. Is this a fitting fond farewell? I'm really not too sure. I don't think it kind of is. I don't think it's really what a lot of fans had in mind. This is essentially like a B-sides EP that has some live tracks thrown on top of it. I think that fans really wanted more along the lines of new music, even if it was just like 1 or 2 tracks, and that would be it. Like maybe if there were any sort of ideas or things that were starting to be cut for a future record before they decided to scrap that entirely. That'd be cool to hear, but it is kind of neat to hear some of the other ideas that were being sort of tossed around for 13, but to have this sort of be the final bow for Sabbath it's kind of one that is a bitter pill to swallow. It's bittersweet, I think, is the best way to really put it, because the 4 tracks that you get are very good, but you're kind of... These are 4 tracks that signal the end of Black Sabbath officially now, back in 2013, so take it how you will. I think that one thing that we all should do as fans and as individuals is sort of be respectful for the band for what they have done for this genre of music that we love so much, and kind of just leave well enough alone. But I want to know what you guys think about the end of this EP from Black Sabbath. Are you planning to see these guys live during this tour? And if so, are you planning to pick this up? I would say it's worth the value as far as having these songs, but from what I have heard, it is a bit pricey. So it's like an EP worth of material for a CD standard price. The only counter argument that I would have for that is the fact that if you take a look at the runtime on here, it is 55 minutes worth of runtime, so you're actually getting an album's worth of runtime through an EP, unless, of course, you know, you're in a doom metal band, which they are, so it's worth the money, is what I will say. But what do you guys think about these songs? I'm sure some of you have heard at least Season of the Dead. Are you guys planning to see Sabbath live? Let me know what you're thinking right now about Sabbath and their farewell tour. Cover Killer Nation, I'll talk to you later. Peace.